Dude, if you're seeing this right now, you're watching the Party with Marty.
We're here to party with Marty!
There you are. Welcome back to another episode of the Party with Marty. Today's our theme is a little dark, so it just don't really fit the Party with Marty, but we're gonna have a good time while being sad. Let me start off by saying that it's been a week. I missed you guys. I hope y'all been good. Upcoming events for myself. I got in north of Milwaukee, in Concordia University, the Lakeshore Chinooks I'll be making an appearance there. That's going to be June 28th. Should be. It's always an exciting time in Milwaukee. Looking forward to that. Also, before I forget, because my dumb ass will forget, I want to say congratulations to Deanna De Silva. And she wins this week's drawing, which is some type of tiger eye ring. The gift, you get a gift when you buy anything off the MartyJannetty.com site. And we have a drawing every so often. Well, once a week we try. Deanna is well, I didn't bring him in yet. Hold on. She's in the chat room quite a bit and actually inviting you ladies to come out to it because she feels lonesome in there, just her and our adorator, radical Addie, or local stuff as she's known in there. So there's a woman that steps in here and there, but it's usually us guys cutting up. So women, feel free to jump in, cut up. You got some girls in there. It won't be alone. You won't get gangs attacked. But so let's get right into the show. And let me see what else. And remember, go to Marty Jannetty's on Facebook if you want to comment or any suggestions or whatever you might have for the show. You'll be sure to just contact me on Facebook. It's Marty Jannetty. It's the certified one, so you know it's the real one. Hit me up there and we'll chat it out and figure out what we want to do. You got some ideas on the show, questions, whatever. Outside of that, let me bring in my co-host, hypothetically the best in the world, Mr. Greek Savage.
Good morning, Mr. Jannetty. How you feeling?
I'm all right, a little tired, but how are you?
A little tired myself. Had an extraction yesterday. My face is still swollen. How's your foot, though?
Foot's getting much better. I got to go see the doctor in a little while, probably. Okay. We'll get an update on it, but it's coming around. So it's been 2 weeks since the surgery. I'm not supposed to put any kind of weight bearing on it for 6 weeks. Started out being 2, then he moved it to 6 for some reason. That's a long time not to want to use your foot, But getting past it, I can tell with a little bit just sitting it on the floor. The first few days I couldn't even do that. That'd be so painful. And as we were talking about with the pain medicine, man, I don't sleep well. I'm like an insomniac. But when I'm taking that pain medicine, when I do go to sleep, sleep solid, and you're having to do it now with the tooth, right?
Yeah. So not really happening, but at least I have some reason to be very happy today. And I'll share this real quick. Did you see the game last night?
Damn, I missed it, but I do. I got it recorded.
That's my mood right now today. Okay, we stole 2 games from Boston in Boston.
Right.
It's a great day to be a New York Knicks fan, and for me, I have a lot of family in Boston, and they're all crying, and I love it.
Yeah, you are enjoying life.
Oh yes.
I was thinking Boston was gonna win it all again.
Nope, no way.
When's the next game, tomorrow?
I think tomorrow. No, actually, it might be one more day because they're going to New York. The next 2 are in New York. I'll check right now, but
okay.
The Garden's going to be on fire, though, Marty.
What's that?
The Garden is going to be on fire when that game starts. It's Saturday, May 10th. The next game.
I mean, if it were like the Atlanta, football team and baseball team here, you just you go all the way and you're looking so good, going to win it all, and then you just lay an egg.
I just have a feeling we're about to sweep the defending world champions, which is great. I'm not worried about the Indiana Pacers. I'm only worried about the Nuggets and the Joker and Westbrook, and they're a scary team. So we'll see. But let's keep it moving on. What are we here today for? Facts on Billy Jack.
Yeah, that which was this week's episode on the dark side of the ring. Billy Jack and I, there's his older days. That's what well, now he cut that Beatles mop off. I don't know what he was doing with that. I didn't see that in time to tell him anything.
That's quite a haircut.
Yeah, he. I love him to death. You know how I am about Dark Side. I just don't know what to believe. With Billy, I've never had no issues. I've never been told anything that was outrageous to where, I'm like, what? I've never, him and I just been, cut up, he was somewhat about the ladies and until he got married, and then I was too. And so we'd cut up with that. He called me one time, or I don't know if it's him or one of the twins, but we got some twins out there that they're all friends. Well, they met him that night and been friends or whatever. Somehow they came to call me, and we cut up on the phone with him. He comes off. You don't see the dark side that must exist. With all the shit that he tells some stories on Dark Side. It's like, okay, he's crazy enough. Probably like my shit on Facebook. He's crazy enough that could be true. He's, I don't know. And then he'll tell one like, Vince McMahon may be your father. What? then you got to wonder, like, man, come on, Billy. But, Billy then, I guess the next day after what happened here, we'll talk about shortly, but I got a call. I think he was one of the twins. Beautiful couple of girls. One of them died here recent. So there's one left. But I called and said, hey, Billy wants to talk to you. Or I guess he was already in, in. They'd already taken him in. And from what I understood, he was wanting help get him out. I don't know what I could do. And I can't call him if he's in jail. He has to call me. Definitely, if he didn't have a number, Tess could have, or one of the twins could have got it to him. But that was the end of it. I think she mentioned, she said, well, he killed his wife. And that threw me in a tailspin, like, what did I just hear? It was actually left on I got it on the voicemail, and Radical Addie heard it too, and she just looked at me like, because Billy would call in the middle of the night, 2 or 3 in the morning, and just ready to party over the phone, which was fine with me, that. I'm up and doing the same thing. But when he would leave messages, You could tell he was, feeling good or something. But yeah. So, like I say, the stories, the dark side, and I said, with Billy, you don't know to believe him or not. He talked about him selling or having to do with the Clintons who were involved in some of his schemes, his cocaine selling days. Evidently, he was saying he was a heavy hitter for a mafia boss up out that way, which that's been confirmed. Some of his stories, people try to confirm it. One of the ones that was, I don't know how outrageous it was, but supposedly he was in Arkansas where they had a mystery where two kids were found, they got ran over by a train, and then they found out with the investigating that they were dead before the train got them. And he says he was there when it happened. He said he wrestled in Arkansas, and he took off to make the witness or make sure a drop didn't go bad. Drop meaning, a bunch of cocaine was exchanged. I guess he was one of the strong arms in the way they presented it, off in the woods watching, and some kids come stumbling up upon the deal, so they killed him. He said, I did help them drag the bodies up to the track. I mean, I don't know why you would tell somebody that. I mean, I did a pretty something similar and stupid, I didn't think it was stupid at the time on Facebook. But mine was part of a storyline. His seemed to be, hey, this is what happened. They were already dead. I didn't do it. So the police opened that case, or looked into that case. It's been 30 years ago that happened. That'd be longer if he was with WWE, which it made it sound like it was. He had his match with somebody and then went out there. But I don't know, man. The police out that way looked into it as much as they could, and they say they can't confirm. They weren't taking this story serious, and they let that go. I don't know. I mean, some of the things, different things Billy brought up that were just made you go, damn, man. Yeah, he had talked about the Clintons being involved with his drug smuggling, or not smuggling, I'm sorry, or selling. And he was saying he was selling kilos. He was going around, bricks, going around selling the kilos around the country when he was with WWE. That was his front. He had to have some type of front. Like and again, he said how he, the money from WWE wasn't good. He was only making 150 grand a week, which actually sounds correct for back then, and his position on the card. Although he was in WrestleMania 3 against Hercules. And that's two big, well-built guys. There he is. There you see, if for those that might remember or might not remember, that's what he looked like when he was in WWE. Big boy. He's like 6'3", probably 260. And as you can see, at 260 is all muscle. Evidently, cockstrong. As a couple of the boys have wrangled around with him, have said. He's just unbelievably strong. He was very good, I guess, in boxing. And I never knew another thing I knew. I only got to see him Sean had a one and done. Sean and I had a one and done with WWE. I think it was in 87 or somewhere like that. And only saw him sort of in passing, and we, hey, how you doing type of thing. And he just seemed nice enough. But I think it was him. We were so nervous I couldn't remember shit. But I think it was him that heard a lot about you guys. And I'm like, oh shit, I hope some of it was good. But we very cordial with each other. He seemed like a nice enough guy. So I wasn't around him at that time to know anything about him. And over the time, him and I became pretty good friends. I would say good friends. And really, it kind of took off. The friendship thing took off where I say, got closer was, I guess, around 2019-ish. He had called me and told me to join into that CTE lawsuit against WWE, and I didn't know shit about it. I'm like, what do you mean? See, at that point, I don't even think I'd heard of CTE. If I had, I didn't, I don't remember right now, but yeah, that's picture there. We'll get back to, I'll talk about that in a little bit. But he and I, he told me about it, and he goes, Marty, he goes, you've got to have concussions for all the years you wrestled. And I said, well, I know I've had concussions. You can tell when you're in the ring, you took a bump and you get in there and your eyes, like you look and there's three guys out in front of you instead of one. You just got a little bit of a concussion. So I've had many of those, but I was like, I didn't understand the concept. Okay, we're pro wrestlers. That's the same kind of in football. Football did the same thing. NFL got sued by the same lawyers that were on the CTE against Vince McMahon. And the mistake they made was trying to do the lawsuit in Connecticut. Forget it. That's McMahon country. So he was, I thought that was silly. It's like, if you're a boxer, if you're a pro wrestler, if you're a football player, especially MMA guy, your job is to go out there and knock yourself and knock the other person around. So you got bruises from that. Well, I mean, what'd you think? Did you think he was going to get slammed from 12 feet up in the air and everything was just going to be fine? He was going to come down like a feather? Yeah, I'll get to that one too. That's a good shot of him, though. I don't know what show he was. So like I say, I didn't see what the dark side showed of him. Oh shit. Sorry about that. I thought I had my phone off. We'll finish up what I was saying with him on that lawsuit. This might be lengthy, but I want to get it in. I thought it was kind of silly. You're going to sue a company because you got a concussion while jumping off top ropes. What the hell did you think? It just seemed silly to me. And then when I heard the NFL just saying, well, the NFL just won $2.2 billion, and I'm thinking, so you're playing pro football and you're not expecting what the hell is going? What am I missing here? What's going on? But then, as it turned out, like I've told this before, they had the wellness program with WWE. I think when they, I called, I'm not going to mention Ann Russo's name, but the head of it at that time, I considered us like friends for what we did. I like her, very good person. I ain't trying to put her down, but I felt comfortable speaking to her on it, and I was like, hey, my ankles were shot out, and I'm having my brother's one that brought it to my attention. He goes, look, man, he goes, you need to call that wellness center and go through there and get a report, so that they can fix your ankles for you. Yeah, I don't know where I was living at the time. Not that matters. Back to talking to her on the phone. I had mentioned the ankles, told her what was going on, and told her about the pain medicine. I'm taking so much pain medicine, and my brother was worried he was going to wake up one morning, like so many of the boys. At one point we were losing one every 3 months for years, 7 years or 10 years. But I had my doctor here that I go to now for this was not even going to charge for his part. He was like, Marty, I'm not going to charge you. The hospital is a separate charge. So you might want to, just let them know that. So it wasn't going to cost him, but whatever. I don't know what it would have been, 20 grand, whereas it might have been 100 grand, if you're paying the doctor. But I passed all that to her and told her and explained the pain pills, going to rehab. At the time I brought this up to her, it's like, the rehab, okay, Jake's, I'll put him through however many times, and nothing against any of these names I'm saying. I'm just using an example. Sonny, Scott Hall, these guys, you're paying for them. It's like 20 grand every time they come through for a month. I don't need all that. And going to a rehab is not going to fix the problem, because when you go to rehab, they're trying to find the source of what's making you, drink or take pills. What's the underlying cause of that? For me, it's the ankles, which is what my brother said. Go to this to a rehab place, and they're going to diagnose you and write it in the report, which he was right. I didn't want to go to a rehab, but I did anyway. Didn't last long, but I went through it, and like I said, when they analyzed me, they wrote in the report, I believe the problem stemming from the pain from his ankles, explaining the overuse of the pain medicine, because I have high tolerance for everything, including drinking, so I have to drink like 3 and 4 times as much as the next person. But I don't know that much about that time frame with him. We weren't really talking. It went from WWE's one time saying hi to each other, and 2 years later started talking. I forgot how we met back up, but back to what I was saying with that, and finish that story. The whole deal, I laid everything out. I said, look, man, and y'all are still making so much money on me on royalty checks, because you get one every quarter. And back then I was still making a little enough. I was like, you can take that money out of the money y'all making off the royalty checks. It won't cost y'all a dime, and put me through, because I don't have health insurance, so I can't put myself through. But y'all certainly can do it for me. I mean, y'all are doing this for the rehab for everybody. But her answer really shocked me. She was like, well, Marty, she goes, you got some very valid points, but if we did this for you, that would open the floodgates. We'd have to do it for everybody this worked for us. And I just thought, you'd have to take care of everybody who broke their body part up for you. Isn't that a sin? But I don't know. It just hit me wrong. So I called up and said, okay, fuck it, and joined that CTE lawsuit. Something I didn't really even believe in, but I just thought, well, if they're going to screw me around like this, making money off me quarterly now, but you can't pay to fix me. I ain't worked for them now. And last time I was there, I think it was against the Miz. Shit, that's been 15 years. It's not longer, something like that. But yeah, man, I just jumped on that, and that's when him and I started talking all the time. And it seemed like the only thing he was most interested in, we're going to be millionaires. We're going to be millionaires. I'm like, okay, that I got to see first. But and as I said before, they tried the case in Connecticut. I don't know where they tried the NFL case and won, but it wasn't Connecticut. Or even if it was Connecticut, it didn't involve the McMahons. The McMahons got too much power in Connecticut. And so evidently the judge threw the case out for whatever reason. None of us really understood it. My brother seems to think, and he could be right, that it sounds like they paid that lawyer off. The lawyer did. I'm not going to say their name, but yeah, because we became buddies too. And I don't know what's true and what's not. All right, so back to Billy Jack, but he would. That was when we started talking a lot, and getting closer and cutting up. And like I said, damn, man, when the phone rang at 2:30, 3:30, 4:30 in the morning, I'm like, damn, Billy Jack's fucked up again. But with the dark side, I always have issues. That's WrestleMania 3, I think, on the left. I was right at 93,000, or it was 93,000 people there for that one. Imagine you just started in the business. You haven't been in it for a year or so, 2 years maybe, something like that. And then you're out in front of 90,000 people. Billy Jack, it was very green. And for a pro wrestler to perform in front of 90,000 people, you've made it. So he was already there. That's what they talked about on Dark Side also. From his beginning out in Portland, Oregon, everybody, the promoters loved him. He went shot him straight to the top because he had the look. You got that body, you got that look, and he was really good with the fans. And that I know for sure, because a lot of times they would call me, he'd be with some fans and they'd say hi on the phone and stuff. But he, and then, you shoot up to the top in the independents. Well, actually back then it wasn't independents, it was territories. You shoot to the top in one, and then you move on to the big time with WWE, WWF at the time. And shoot right up, they were pushing him up to the top. And from what I understood, or what they said in Dark Side, and again for Dark Side, I love them. The producers and I, we stay in touch, and we do whatever we can for each other, helping each other. But it's just sometimes, and they are fact checkers like a mofo. They want to make sure whatever it is that they're talking about can be, it was documented as true. A lot. They don't everything, because there's been a couple of their shows that I knew, like with Doink the Clown, with Matt Bourne. I was there for the end. I was there for the middle. I wasn't there at his beginnings, but I wonder if that's in Portland, that picture there. He used to love the juice. You see in his forehead, a lot of the guys have got grooves coming downward. I mean, I would at least think go side to side so it blend in with your wrinkles. But a lot of the guys didn't. A lot of guys straight down, coon. And he used to hit it because he got them 1.5 inches. You're sideways, they call it coast to coast. But yeah, he evidently just was about to be the top guy in WWE, from what they were saying. And Ken Patera, y'all remember Ken Patera? Ken, I like Ken. He was a good friend. And seeing some of the guys now, which knowing you're only a few years younger, and I see him like, no way, that's Ken. And he was on there. If you don't remember Ken Patera, he was an Olympic power lifter. On the Olympic team. That's what they kind of ran with on WWF at the time. But they tagged those two up just to give him more experience, I guess, as they were climbing the ladder. And these are things I only found out. And some things it seems like, okay, that was easy to fact check, so you believe it might be true. When they talked about that he didn't. Kim Patera actually tells us, so it's most likely true. How they had a tag match one night, and he's sitting there waiting, looking at his clock, and Billy's not there, and he waits and waits, and finally the match, they couldn't hold it up no more. They had to, I guess, put somebody else, a filler in for Billy. But he said that was pretty much the end of the tag. They were going to push that tag team to the top, I guess, as tag champions. And it was a good-looking team, big burly men. Then they, I guess, I'd heard about this too, where he passed out on the plane. This was the end of his WWF career. He passed out on the plane, was drooling, and they couldn't wake him up. The stewardess panicked, and they had an emergency landing because of him. Which on Dark Side again, they said it was from his, because he admits to all the pain pills he would take during that show, and so I'm sure during their interview with him, that's what he did. He talked about the amount of painkillers, which most of the boys have a high tolerance. Like, it's, to me, I believe it could be right, that the better condition you got your body in, the more of anything it can take, including medicines. What works for the 9 to 5 is not necessarily going to work for a pro athlete. That's not a put down on 9 to 5ers. I'm just saying it's different lifestyles, it's different things your bodies go through. The boys had all said it was GHB because that was prevalent back in that day. It was, everybody was doing the GHB and sharing it. Sometimes they let you know they shared it with you. Sometimes they wouldn't. They thought it was funny to watch you pass out and shave your head or your eyebrows or something. But that's what everybody had said. It was GHB that he had taken it, and it will do that. I mean, if you take too much for you, there's nothing you can do to fight it. You're going out, and a lot of times you shit or piss your clothes. Excuse my language, but that was it. Vince, when they had to make an emergency landing because he was effed up on the flight and they couldn't get him awake. He says they had to shock his heart back to life. That's what he says. Nobody else said that, but he just kind of cut his own throat there on that. I guess I say I don't know him well enough to know that he would be that way. And that's not really being any way. It's just when you're caught up in drugs and whatever else, alcohol and whatever other shit you might be in, you're not really acting out yourself. You're acting. They called it altered state of mind for a reason. It's not you anymore. It's altered you, which is not you. It's altered. Completely whole different person, and gosh, don't I know that. I mean, I'm sure you've seen it, Savage, where just one drink stepped over the line.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, who the fuck is this guy? this the same guy that was sitting there 10 minutes ago. But yeah, I didn't get to know him like that. It was kind of a sad thing, to watch, because what didn't get thrown on him, a lot of the guys, they said that they didn't really like him, that was hard because such a nice guy. How could you not like him? But at the same time, I did understand. I didn't see that side of him, never did. They said he had such a short fuse. He would snap immediately when something went right. I didn't realize all the guys he wrangled up in the dressing room. I guess one report that I heard, not from Dark Side, but one of the boys, he went up to Big John Studd. Remember him? 6'9", if not 6'10", 300 something pounds, 350, 370. Big old boy. It was one of the first boys that we saw walking by when Sean and I first started with WWF. And Hulk and Bundy and I got scared. I told Sean, let's go, man. We don't belong here. But old big ass John Studd, man, I guess they had a match together and he felt like John did something he shouldn't have, and he went up and they had words. And according to this person, that John told him, go fuck yourself. I'm 7 foot tall. I guess Billy Jack wanted to take a bump for him. He didn't go down, which is typical of a giant like that. You shouldn't go down on one, drop kick. I think it was drop kick. Not one. He's a monster, but he could have explained it to Billy a little better than go fuck yourself. I'm 7 foot and 300 and something pounds. And so Billy slapped the shit out of him in the face. And as he went down to a knee, and as he got up, was coming up, Billy slapped him down again. He goes, and if you get up again, I'm gonna slap you down again. And Stud stayed on the knee or whatever. That in itself, I mean, if you're going to attack somebody 6'10", that is, size don't mean they can fight, but that's not the point. And then, I heard he had roughed up some guys, and when he went to Florida, I guess afterwards, and wrestled down there, whenever the hell it was, he went to Florida wrestling, way back when it was fairly popular still. Kind of yoked up a couple of the guys there. One story they told on Dark Side was who was it? Alfonso, the ref. A lot of people know him. Great brother. Yeah, we just saw him at WrestleMania week. I don't know if you remember, but anyway, he was saying they were somewhere in the club or sitting there, and some dudes recognized him and started talking about wrestling's fake. Yeah, I could probably take his ass. So the next thing you know, Billy got him in the headlock, gave him about 20 quick punches to the face, laid him down on the floor. And, I didn't realize he was that quick to jump somebody, ready to jump you. He's just a stick of dynamite with a short fuse, I mean, we've talked about this before. You know how you can look. Sometimes you can look at a guy and in the eye, and like maybe not this one. Billy has that kind of a look. I think most guys with dark brown eyes can portray that look. I don't know why that is, but he just, the aura about him. There's just something like maybe not him. And usually muscle guys like that can't fight. But evidently he can. If he was trained in boxing, of course he's going to be even better. But I feel bad for him. After that CT lawsuit, I would hear from him very rarely. They dropped the thing back. I don't know. It's been at least 2 or 3 years now. And it was lawyers called and said they threw the case out. I wanted to say, I told y'all don't try it in fucking Connecticut. Come on, man. But when we're still talking. In fact, that's when he called with the twins once. Or they did or whatever. But it just kind of faded out. And then occasionally get that 3 a.m. phone call, what are you doing, you fucker? And then the next thing I heard was that, and about the murder. The pictures we got, you have the one that's got the older lady on it. And if we find that. Yeah, the one on the left there. That's his wife here at the end. I don't mean to giggle on that. It's just didn't. I don't know. I mean, the twins were very beautiful and much younger than us. And he could, did that quite often. He could get what he wants. But with her, he married her. She's 85. Well, she was 85 when she got murdered. When I guess that was only like right at a year ago, maybe. But he married her, which a lot of the local people and her families said he just wanted her money and a place to live. He at one point he talked about just why you just don't know what to believe out of him. At one point he said he showed a picture and said, yeah, that's my van. I was living in that for a while. Then later he talks about the money he's got. So I never did wrestle for money. He challenged Greg Valentine. He was going to put up, I forgot, that was a ridiculous amount, a couple million or some shit to fight Greg Valentine because Greg had said something he didn't like. And I think then he challenged Kevin Sullivan also the same way to a fight. This was a few years back, 6, 7 years ago. And he was saying then, he goes, well, you think I don't got the money? I don't need money. I got plenty of money. Why the hell you living in your van? It's just like that's where Hannibal is a good friend of mine that does the Hannibal TV, the interview stuff podcast, and he was interviewing Billy Jack, and I mean Billy was older now. Hannibal's nobody to play with. I mean, he's not a joke, and he was interviewing Billy, and Billy asked him, well, what do you think? Because he was saying about some of the stories just don't sound believable. And Billy said to him, well, what do you think? And he was honest. I was surprised that, he didn't deflect away from that. But he said, well, you got so many great stories that are truthful. Because I think when you tell those ones that are not truthful, and which he did basically call him a liar, if you're not truthful, it kind of muddles up the ones that are truthful. Well, I mean, he's being honest. I mean, if you know the history of Billy Jack and how he's quick tempered, that's probably not something you want to say to him, especially on camera. But Billy said, "Oh, really? Okay." He says, "Well, whatever Billy said, you know a lot." And then Hannibal came back with something about, "Look, man, I'm not trying to start anything. I mean, have you taken your medicine today? Are you okay?" And that was it. And Billy Jack takes his hat off. He had a hat, sort of like with that picture there, without the green thing on it. He takes his hat off and sets it down, fixes his hair, and he walks over there closer to Hannibal, and he goes, "So I take my medicine. What are you trying to say?" And I think Hannibal realized he's about to try to fight me, which, I don't know how old he was at the time that interview. He looked to be about 4 years ago. As you're 66 years old at that point. So I think Billy's 70 right now, 70 or 71. But look at that picture. This is when he was telling the stories about some of the things he's talked about. Like one thing he said, the 9/11 was an inside job and the Bushes aren't going to be happy about him saying they were involved. Well, that's stuff that was said on TV by Jesse Ventura on conspiracy theories. But somehow he linked himself to it and saying that he knew all about it. And he had things that you just couldn't be saying or he'd be a dead man. He told a few things like that he had heard. And then later, it became he was there. One reporter that he had gotten to do his story after he got beat up real bad supposedly by the mafia people as retribution for he stole a couple $100,000 from them. He went right to the reporter and told him about it, and this reporter started following all these stories, and like the reporter got to a point where he said, I don't know what was real and what's not, and he said I had told. I think it was him. I had told Billy Jack a story about somebody that got killed, and it was a mafia suspected, yada, yada, yada. And he said he knew nothing about it. And he says, like, a couple months later, he sent me a letter. He sent me letters all the time. He sent me a letter saying how he was involved in this thing, and he knew exactly how it went down. Billy had never heard about it before. So that, with CTE, your brain does funny things to you according to the degree you've got it. Dementia being one of the biggest things that it brings it on a lot quicker. You know, as found out, that's what Chris Benoit had with CTE. They said his brain was of an 80-year-old with the bruises all over it. It was so bad. It makes you see everything different. You know, me most likely having it, I got 12 of the 13 symptoms. The one that I don't have is suicidal thoughts, and then there are times when I do look up into the air, like, yeah. But no, that's out of the question. But you know, he might be the spokesmodel for CTE, because from the stories I heard from the other guys that were around him on the road with him, which you're going to see a lot, you know a lot more about a person when you see their daily activities compared to, I just met them. When you meet somebody, you're meeting them for that moment. They might be pissed off. They might have had a rough day, might have had a great day. But we see them day after day after day after day. And then you really get to know who the person is. And the common denominator, whatever you call it, in all of them was that they just didn't trust him. They didn't know what he was up to. That's what Ken said, Patera said in particular. I don't know what would happen. We would check in the hotel, and 5 minutes later he's gone. I wouldn't see him till the next morning. I don't know what he was doing. You know, he claims a lot of that time he was, whatever city they were in, he'd go make a drug drop that night. I don't know how he got the drugs. He must have got them there and then went and dropped them somewhere else. I don't know why those people in that area wouldn't have their own drop people. I mean, I don't know. And it's none of my business really, but it's just a I don't know. I'm leaning on the CTE because as much as he got banged, of course, after the attorney or somebody, another reporter, maybe it was that reporter had said, it showed pictures of when he went to the Longoria guys, who was supposed to be a top boss over there in Oregon. They went to, you got some other stuff, yeah. Oh, is that the video?
There's one small percentage of my life, and there's a whole big part of my life I'm leaving out here. The position I'm in right now, it's hard for me to bring up anything and talk about it. And I have my attorney out there, so I'm glad that he's here today. It's a second-degree murder. And it's just way overcharged. Didn't happen. There's only really two human beings I really love. That was my father, who was blind and in a wheelchair, and then the other was my wife, who allegedly I murdered, which you're going to find I didn't. And I loved her more than life.
Weighing 247 pounds.
Pro wrestling is a work. We all know that. But we took it real serious back when we were in it.
Oh, look at the blood just spewing out of the forehead.
I don't want to be negative towards anybody in this industry, I don't. I respect the wrestlers so much, but they don't know me.
Throughout his wrestling career, Billy Jack Haynes remains distant, private to the point of secrecy.
He was not the life of the party, the life of the locker room. He wasn't making friends hand over fist. He was just that big guy over there. It's like something's going on.
Billy Jack was a true loner. Then I realized he was very manipulative. He always had an agenda, and you never knew what he was up to. We'd go check in at the hotel there. 5 minutes later, Billy'd be gone. And he did that every night. I didn't know what he was doing.
At that time, I was really heavy into the narcotics, into the painkillers. Uppers, lowers, you name it, you couldn't survive without it. I was 5 days a week in and out of airports, different cities.
Billy Jack going to work now.
340 nights a year.
Heavyweight champion, Billy!
I took 20, sometimes 25 pills a day. Vicodin, Percocet, he got in the way of wrestling and my life.
All you beautiful children, drugs are negative. You are a positive influence for the world. I love you very much. Say no to drugs.
Drugs are no good, you know. It's not good.
Well, we're at the Oakland Coliseum in a tag team. It's time for the match. Billy's nowhere to be found. About an hour later, all the matches were over, and here comes Billy. Oh, he looked like hell. I said, Billy, you missed the match. Completely out of it. McMahon said that he was going to give us a big push, and I think we can throw that out the window.
That's something, ain't it? They'll re-show that again. It's on the Vice Network for those who may want to watch it. It's for me, it's sad because it's a friend. I didn't know all those things, you know. Really didn't, when we would talk, I didn't really get too many things that are like, but it would be one here and there, and I just dismissed it as CTE talking. But it wasn't like it was, when you watch this, it's like every other thing is a fucking red flag going up. I feel bad for him. The wife again, when you showed it, we got that picture one more. He talked about it, and I was laughing like that's his wife. He says there she is when he talks about it on the episode Dark Side of the Ring, that her dementia had gotten so bad she didn't know who she was. She didn't know who he was. And it was just that day that it tore him up to see her that way, and she had no idea who she was. He said, so I felt it was, you know, only good thing I could do was put her out of her misery. So I guess he shot her in the head. And he said he claims it was a mercy killing because she did not want to be living like that. She didn't. Evidently, she was more in dementia land, and you know, with dementia, you go out and you come back, you go out and you come back. I've done that a bit, not a lot, but and it's not for a long time. But it's scary when you come back from. It's like, whew, what just happened? But he said she was out more than she was in, and he just thought it wasn't where she would want to live, and so he shot her in the head as a mercy killing. I don't know. In his mind, is that what he did? You know, because in his mind, he's, what do you call it, convoluted with thoughts with, you know, because of the CTE. So any way you look at it, it's a sad story. Sad for her, sad for her family. Sad for him because he will most likely, I don't think mercy killings are allowed in the United States. So most likely the rest of his life is going to be spent there. So anyway, that's that. That's this week. That's before I get all sad here, teary-eyed over something. Somebody say, "Why are you fucking sad for a murderer?" Hey, I mean, what was in his mind? Did he think he was legitimately putting her out of her misery? You got to remember now, he's coming from an altered state of mind with that CTE. Who knows if drugs are involved also, you know, don't know. Yeah, I knew he drank a bit there at the end. You know, I mean, Deborah was so fucked up, he didn't make sense. You know, like if he was on so much medicine. But anyway, unless you can think of something, Savage, I think that's about it for this week.
No, another great episode. Facts on Billy Jack, man. Just to send your people out.
Yeah, if I get any updates or hear anything, I'll let y'all know that. Let me review again. As we said at the beginning, we'll say here at the end, for those who might have missed the beginning, including D Silva. Hope I'm saying it right, Ms. D. She's always in the chat room. You might know her, Savage. But use this week's winning drawing, which we have on my website, martyjannetty.com.
Yeah, all the links are in the video description as well.
Yeah, and we have a drawing. We're going to try to do it once a week. You know, for anybody that's purchased anything, they get a ticket, a raffle ticket or whatever, and we have a drawing. She is this week's winner. She's in the chat room pretty much all the time now. She had said she wants some more women to get in there. She feels like she's the only one. Obviously, there's all the guys are in there cutting up, having fun. I got no ladies in there to cut up with, but she cuts up with us pretty good. But there are a few other ladies that are in there. They just don't ever say nothing. I know a couple of them. And I was like, why don't you say something in there? Because we chat up. We have fun on the podcast in the chat room. So it gets to be a tight little knit group of people. You become friends with people you never knew. I guess that's how that stuff works. But yeah, and again, go to my Facebook site, the Marty Jannetty on Facebook. It's certified. It's got that little blue check, so you know it's the right one. You can send me any kind of questions or suggestions or whatever you have for the show. We welcome that. Also subscribe. If you're seeing this, subscribe. We need the subscriptions. Is that how you say that? Need subscriptions. So we can better the show. We're actually wanting to start inserting little extras rather than just be a full, just talk the whole time. But you know, we got to get the subscriptions up for that. Also, I mentioned at the beginning of the show, this place here is North Milwaukee. I think it was university shit. But it's North Milwaukee for the Lakeshore Chinooks doing an appearance there. That's June 28th. We'll talk about it again later. But Milwaukee's always a fun time. Always. And I got a show coming up in West Virginia in a couple of weeks. I'll get more detail for that next show. And that's always a party place, West Virginia. It don't sound like take me home, country roads, but those people love the party. So yeah, we'll be coming there, and there's a couple other places we're still negotiating out. We'll keep you informed of that. Savage, you got anything coming up?
No, nothing really. Not this week. Just the same thing. Show at the end of the month on May 31st, and just a lot of running around, man. Hopefully your foot feels even better next week, and another great episode coming everybody's way. Oh, and I am going live again on Mondays, so you're invited next Monday, 9:30, if you want to talk.
This coming Monday?
Yeah. I go live at 9:30, so this way, like the last half hour of Raw, I can be live, and everybody can get our reactions, me and Jay.
That sounds good. All right, y'all remember that. And other than that, you know the story. We're glad you're here, and we want to see you again next week, and the week after, and the week after, and the week after. But until then, it's next Thursday, same damn time, same damn place. See you.
Dude, if you're seeing this right now, you're watching the Party with Marty.
Yeah.